Hej allihopa, jag heter Johannes och jag är från Tyskland och jag talar svenska.
Maybe call. Hey allihopa, hi everyone, and welcome to another video from Say It In Swedish. I'm your host Joachim, and today we are gonna talk about what to do when you get invited to a party in Sweden. But before we start, I want to remind you of sayitinswedish.com, where you can learn Swedish for free. It sounds like I'm out of breath, but I'm not. But you can learn Swedish. I've got tons of free content for you over there, and if you want to unlock some extra goodies and support the channel and the project, you can become a patron member. All the links are in the description down below, of course. In Sweden, we obviously have casual parties with your friends or friends of friends, or formal parties where could be with your friends, obviously, of course, as well. But maybe your boss or an acquaintance has invited you to a more formal gathering. There are a few things that I wanted to talk to you about in this video because there could be massive cultural shocks. Maybe there won't be any, but in this video I'm trying to at least bridge this a little bit, and so that you know about our peculiarities. If you get a Swedish invitation to a party, could be via email, but if it's a card or another type of written note in the mail or whatever, if you see these three letters, OSA, which stands for Om svar anhålles, which is basically a fancy way of saying, are you coming or not? We want an answer. Then, if you see this, you need to answer. If you're declining or not coming, or if you're coming, you need to answer no matter what, because that's what this means. So, om svar anhålles is basically for answer is requested. Basically, it's a bit odd in Swedish as well. It's a fancy way, basically, or an older way of saying what I just said. Right. So remember, if you see this, it is requested of you to answer if you're coming or not. So it would be kind of rude to have this and not say no if you're not coming. It would be very weird if there would be no response. So think about that, or yeah, it would be considered rude if you didn't answer this. Obviously, someone can invite you orally as well, and then they would probably say that they would like an answer. They could use the verb osa in this case, which is it's the verb for this because this abbreviation has turned into a verb. So if you read these letters, osa, that's what it sounds like, and it sounds like a verb, so it is now a verb. So osa, if someone is asking you, har du osat till, have you respond to this invitation, and so on. Good to know. Now, if you're coming to the party, it is expected of you to show up on time, because we don't do late in Sweden when it comes to parties. And this is important for you to know, because this is so different among different cultures. Some cultures, they expect you to show up an hour late, for instance, but in Sweden, if the hosts say that the party starts at 7, you will show up at 7. It's even, yeah, I think in Sweden it's pretty common to show up too early, then walk around the block until it is 7 o'clock. Then you feel free to ring the bell. And I think this is pretty funny. We just can't show up late. We need to be there beforehand and just check the premises, and then when the clock strikes 7, then we can ring the bell and go to the party. So this is very important, because it will be seen as very rude if you show up an hour late, if you don't have, probable cause. If you have called beforehand and you've said, well, I really want to come, but I have work, I'm out of town, I can arrive an hour later or 2 hours later or whatever. I mean, if you ask the person first and you have permission to show up late, that's another story. But generally, it's seen as rude if you're gonna show up late, because that's not what we normally do. Okay, and this even if we have the saying "fint folk kommer alltid sent," which means fancy folks always come late. And historically, this makes sense because the nobility and the royals, they came the last to the party. But doing this would, I guess it would be admitting that you're better than anyone else. And remember, in Sweden, you're not better than anyone else. If you're going to a casual party at your friend's house, or maybe you're going with your friend to another friend's house or a friend of that friend, then it is expected of you to bring your own drinks. Maybe you're going to a so-called before party, förfest, because you're going out later. Then it's especially a signal that this isn't an official party, and you're expected to bring your own drinks, basically, because why should that person buy drinks for everyone? It's not a party like that. So that's very, I think a cultural thing that some people might not know about. So you're supposed to just bring your little plastic bag with with alcohol and whatever you want to drink, and then basically the first thing you do is to ask for the fridge. And you put your whole bag in there so that no one will take your alcohol, because that will happen if you don't conceal the bag. And as you all know by now, we Swedes, we take off our shoes when entering someone's home and our own home. And this is also true for parties, of course. You need to take off your shoes. So if you're going especially to a more formal gathering, check your nice socks for holes, and maybe don't take your like, can you see, jelly bean socks. Have something more decent. And maybe some hosts expect you to take shoes with you that you can use inside. It depends basically on the gathering. If you are invited for a party where you are gonna be outside for the most part, of course you're gonna have your shoes on, but beware of, if you need to go inside, maybe you need to take off your shoes. Then maybe look at what the others do. That's the best thing to do. Look, observe what the others do, but normally we take off our shoes. Something that might seem a bit odd to some cultures is the concept of husesyn, which basically means that you ask for a tour around the house. Now, I think this is not something you normally do at like a casual party, but it's also maybe weird to do it with someone you absolutely don't know, right? But if there are some, let's say, context to this, maybe the person has just moved and they are throwing a party. Maybe this makes more sense, or maybe the house is something extraordinary. Maybe you're partying at a rich dude's house and it's huge. Then you can like ask, wow, could I have a tour? This house is amazing, and so on. So this concept exists, but I can't tell you how frequently this is used today, and if it doesn't interest you at all, then just don't ask for a husesyn, for a tour around the house. It's not expected. I'd say, at least, it's not expected that you do this, but the concept exists. So if you are throwing a party in Sweden, or Swedes are coming over and they ask for husesyn, don't be startled. They are not checking for like whatever goodies you have that they can steal. It's pretty normal to just check the house. Now, something that is important to know is how to greet people, and mostly you would hug people. It's very weird because Swedes are reserved, right? But in this context, you will hug the host. No, not always. It depends also a little bit on how well you know the person. But we do hugs and we do handshakes. We don't do kisses, really. That's for the southern people, European people, and so on. In Sweden, firm handshakes, that's also important. You don't go like this. It's the worst, right? It's the worst. It's the worst. Oh, I crack myself up sometimes. And also don't hug like an idiot, right? I hate when people hug like this, like as far away as possible. Maybe it's just me, but I think those hugs are very awkward. So just don't hug if you don't want to. Just use your hand, right? And don't hug. But normally, you would hug the people you know, and I guess you need to, you know yourself how well you know these people. But after a party, if you have engaged in conversation with people for more than 5 minutes, you're probably gonna be best hugging friends. So when they leave or you leave, and you're never gonna see these people again, you are gonna hug them anyway. As if you would. When you're talking about it, Swedes feel so insincere, but yeah, whatever. And the last thing I wanted to say is something that I haven't heard about from other cultures. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've heard about this before. But when we see each other later or talk to each other later, to the host and etc., we say tack för senast, which means thanks for latest or lately or whatever, latest, literally. And this is just a way to thank someone for the party or thank another guest that you have been in touch with during the party that you basically enjoyed being with or talking to or whatever. If you had a good time, thank the person for the latest. But mainly the host as well. So we thank a lot in Sweden. I made a video about that, of course. I think I've made videos about almost anything or everything now, but yeah, we thank for the latest. It's basically a way to thank for the nice company or the nice time that you had together. Alright, that was everything that I had for you today. Hopefully you learned something today, and let me know in the comments down below if you have been to a Swedish party, casual and not casual. What did you catch up like? What did you react to? What did you find odd or interesting? I would love to know that. Maybe there are more things that I haven't thought about right now, so that I could do a part 2, because parties are important, because here you make friends, or you make at least friends for a few hours. If you want to learn Swedish that you can use at these parties, because people can speak English, but if you are the only one not speaking Swedish, they will eventually just slip into Swedish, not thinking about it, and you will be like, I'm awkward. Right, so learn some Swedish. SayItInSwedish.com is the place for you there. And if you want to practice your Swedish and talk to me, you can do that on Discord, which is a nice chat program. We have a very nice community over there. All the links are in the description down below. And we will see each other. We will see each other in the next video. Okej, ha det bra. Puss och kram och nyp i stjärten. Vi ses. Hejdå. And of course, I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons, especially Kelly Primo, Chris Whitmire, Lane Bartlett, and Lily. Thank you guys so much. And if you want some more content, you can stop by sayitinswedish.com, sprichmalschwedish.com, or watch another video. This one, for instance. Click here. Now.